Welcome once again to the highlight of the Bull Terrier Club world, the annual trophies for the Bull Terrier Club for 2001. Once again, it's being held at the Chesford Grange Hotel near Kenilworth, which provides luxurious accommodation for dogs and owners, and the ballroom where the trophies are being held allows excellent space for people to show their dogs. There will be 4 trophies, as always, competed for this year. The Sandawana Trophy, which is restricted to coloured dogs and bitches, the Ormondy Jug for dogs and bitches, and the prize of all that everybody wants to win, the Regent Trophy. All dogs competing here today have had to be selected, and they have been selected on the merit according to the awards that they've won at championship shows in the last year. These are the actual trophies that are going to be competed for. The first 2 are the Ormondy Jugs, which were presented by Raymond Oppenheimer. The second trophy is the Bull Terrier Club of America trophy, which is awarded to the breeder of the Regent Trophy winner. The next one is the actual Regent Trophy itself, which is presented by Dr. Viviers. It was first awarded in 1950 to Miss Woods, and her dog was called Wooden William. This is the Coverwood casket, which is awarded to the runner-up to the Regent Trophy winner, and was awarded by Mr. Morgan Blair. And finally, the very beautiful copper bowl, which is the Sandawana Trophy, which comes from Rhodesia and was awarded to the club by Mr. Harrison.
The show will be opened by the chairman of the Bull Terrier Club committees, Mr. John Crawley.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen from home and overseas, and welcome to all of you and all our judges from home and overseas. We're going to start this morning's proceedings with the Sandawana Trophy. The dogs will come in the order as per the catalogue. We've got one absentee, number 85, Megaville Soul Rebel. So the reserve dog, William Victorious and Megaville, will be Black Douglas, number 78.
This is Kailshire Black Douglas. He was born on the 26th of October 2000. His sire is Champion Magico Monroe, and his dam is Kailshire Dreamweaver. He was bred by Liz Shearer and is owned by Liz Shearer and her brother Jerry. This is Predator Crimson Tide. He was born on the 8th of February 1999. His sire is Predator Below Zero, and his dam is Predator Coco Savannah. He's bred by John and Paula Grant and is owned by Miss Lisa Baldwin. This is Predator Midnight Patrol with Anubis. He was born on the 18th of October 1999. His sire is Predator Below Zero, and his dam is Predator Black Onyx. He was bred by Mr. and Mrs. Meller and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Kilpatrick and Mrs. Wass. This is Champion High Cost Court Jester. He was born on the 1st of September 1999. His sire is Grieveland Sher Khan of Taipan, and his dam is Delilah Temptress. He was bred by Mr. Tompkinson and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Mountford. This is Ishmael Playing with Fire. He was born on the 5th of November 2000. His sire is Champion Kenseth, Prince of Darkness at Denpower, and his dam is Miss All Alone at Ishbal. He was bred by Mr. Backhouse and is owned by Ian and Alison Homendrake. This is J. Buck Blackjack of Shane. He was born on the 25th of October 1999. His sire is Champion Magico Midnight Sun, and his dam is Magico Air of Permanence. He was bred by Mr. and Mrs. Pilkington and is owned by Barry and Becky Thatcher. champion Ken Z, Prince of Darkness at Den Power. He was born on the 6th of March 1999. His sire is champion Hill and Vale Snow King of Den Power, and his dam is Lady Daisy of Esich. He's bred by Mr. John Fletcher and is owned by Paul and Denny Hopewell. This is Remus Roulette at Bullyview. He was born on the 3rd of December 1999. His sire is champion Darjan Stormy Norman, and his dam is Bullamy Unishare Evans. This is Villiers the Victorious among Megaville. He was born on the 11th of August 2000. His sire is Megaville's Soul Rebel, and his dam is Spud's Prancing Lady. He was bred by Mrs. Purcell and is owned by Anna and Pete Blair. This is Arifon I. Pierce. She was born on the 14th of June 2000. Her sire is Megaville's Soul Rebel, and her dam is Arifon Naked Eye. She was bred by Mr. Eric Stanley and is owned by Mr. Lyndon Morgan. This is Bullyview Isn't She Lovely? She was born on the 26th of January 1999. She's by Star Rays Twist and Shout at Bullyview, and her dam is Adderstone Silver Machine at Bullyview. She was bred by Mr. and Mrs. John Young and is owned by Mr. Peter Harris. It's Bullyview Lardy Dar. She was born on the 8th of October 1999. She is by champion Darjan Stormy Norman, and her dam is champion I Am Right Little Miss Bullyview. She is owned and bred by John and Mandy Young. This is Kirby's Beautician. She was born on the 16th of May 2000. She is by Marshalsea Hellraiser, and her dam is Kirby Zero. She was bred by Mrs. Queeta Hewitt and is owned by Mr. C. Monk. This is Slight Lass at Bullyview. She was born on the 26th of October 1998. She is by Star Rays Twist and Shout at Bullyview, and her dam is Diton Desdemona. She was bred by S. Walker and is owned by John and Mandy Young. And today she's being handled by Vicky Binns.
Number 92, Stars and Stripes of Merlinden.
This is Stars and Stripes of Merlinden. She was born on the 21st of August 1999. Her sire is champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killicabar, and her dam is Solar Dream Starshine of Merlinden. She is bred by Mr. Danny McGregor and Miss Nicola Colwell, and is owned by Linda and Danny McGregor. This is Heavenly Body from Bilbao, who was born on the 12th of July 2000. She's by Marshalsea Hellraiser, and her dam is Bilbao and Lady Halleth. She was bred by Mr. Dyer and is owned by Miss Sarah Foster. The Sandawana Trophy is being judged by Mr. Daniel Mezguer Bernal from Spain and Mrs. Edie Micklethwaite.
Bernal from Spain, Mrs. Edie Micklethwaite from England.
next dog to be moved is Kaleshire Black Douglas. At home he's known as Max. He won Best Puppy in Group at Carlisle Canine Society Open Show on his first outing and was Best Puppy in Breed at National Terrier. The next dog is Creditor Midnight Patrol with Anubis. He has a reserve challenge certificate awarded by Tony Coop. The next dog is Ishmael Playing with Fire. His sire, Champion KenZ Prince of Darkness at Den Power, is also in this trophy, and he is actually the breed record holder for the number of CCs held. Today he's handled by Michelle Fisher, who owns the Denchi Affix. He's been consistently highly placed at breed clubs and championship shows and has done very well at general canine societies, in gaining third puppies twice in the Terrier group. This is Champion KenZ Prince of Darkness at Den Power. He has a total of 12 CCs. His first was from Yorkshire Bull Terrier Club under Mr. John Watkins, where he was best in show. His second CC was under Albert Harwood at National Dog Show in Birmingham, and the third was Mr. Mark Phillips at Three Counties. He also has 5 reserve challenge certificates. In April 2000 he was best in show at Northern Provincial Bull Terrier Club under Paul Lemon. And he was, in November 2000, a number of Supreme trophies at Northern Provincial. This is Villas the Victorious among Megaville. He has a reserve challenge certificate which was awarded at LKA in December last year by Mrs. June Ottawell. He's been to 8 championship shows so far and won his class at 7 of them. Megapil's Soul Rebel, who's also owned by the Blairs, was not able to compete today, but his son is able to take his place today. We now have creditor Crimson Tide. He's been best red dog twice at the Colour Bull Terrier Club and has a number of best of breeds at General Canine Societies. He's also been the best red at the Bull Terrier Club and as well as best condition and presented at Northern Provincial Bull Terrier Club. This is Champion High Cost Court Jester. He has 3 challenge certificates, the first awarded by Mrs Micklethwaite at Windsor, the second at Darlington by Mr John Micklethwaite. Both of those were best of breed, and the third CC was at Midland Counties at Phyllis McCombie. He has 2 reserve challenge certificates awarded by Mrs Queetier at Mr John Branch. When he was best of breed at Windsor, he also was pulled out as Group 4 winner in the Terrier group, which is very unusual for Bull Terriers, a great honour. He was the winner of the Romany Trophy 2001, judged by Mrs Bell and Mr Harris, and the Guillaume Trophy 2001, Mrs Branch. He was also the winner of the Northern Provincial Supreme Trophy 2001, judged by Mrs Jackie Thornley and Mr Ron Scott. This is J. Bart Blackjack of Shane. He's owned by Barry and Becky Thatcher. His grandmother was Magico Dream Girl, who was the winner of the Ormady Bitch Jug. And Magico Monroe, his grandfather, was runner-up to the Regent Trophy and the Ormady Jug for dogs. Jack's little brother is Champion J. Bart Jack Flash, who won the Sandawana Trophy last year, 2000. This is Remus Roulette at Bullyview. He has 1 challenge certificate which was awarded by the all-rounder Terry Thorne at the Welsh Kennel Club last year. He was the best dog at Notts and Derby under Mr Fred Howarth. His father, Champion Darjan Stormy Norma, was a previous winner of the Sandawana Trophy, and his grandfather, champion Cross Guns Checkmate of Bullyview, was also a Sounder 1 trophy winner. Rebus was the last of the dogs to be shown, and now we're going to be moving on to the bitches. And first up is Bullyview, Isn't She Lovely? She has been shown a number of different breed clubs and done very well. She was best coloured bitch at Notts and Derby, and was at Peterborough. She was winner of best of breed and best in show. She was invited to the Kirby Trophy May 2000 and actually won that trophy, and was one of the dogs invited for the inaugural Romany Trophy in 2001 at the Colourful Terrier Club. She also won first at Limit Bitch at Cross 2001. This is now Bullyview La-di-da. She has one challenge certificate awarded by Mrs. Gaynor Richardson at Southern Counties last year, when she was best opposite sex. And she has 3 reserve tickets from 3 counties, but with Mrs. Maureen Hughes, Blackpool from Mrs. Jackie Thornley, and at Northern Provincial Bull Terrier Club from Mr. Ron Scott. She was also one of the dogs invited to the inaugural Romany Trophy in 2000 at the Colourful Terrier Club. Next up is Stars and Stripes of Morganton. She's had many first prizes at championship shows and breed club shows, and was recently awarded Best Bull Terrier of the Year at the East Anglia Bull Terrier Club Trophy Show. This is Aricon Eye Pierce. She has a reserve challenge certificate awarded by Mrs. Edie Micklethwaite at Windsor. She is actually Mr. Morgan's first Bull Terrier, and at their first show, which was the Colour Bull Terrier Club in May last year, she was best puppy and best in show. She's also won the Northern Provincial Supreme Trophy Show Bitch of the Year competitor, and she's also competed in the Romany Trophy. Mrs. Kirby's beautician, she has 2 challenge certificates, the first awarded by Mr. Ron Scott with Best of Breed at Northern Provincial, and the second by Mr. John Young, who's also with Best of Breed at Manchester recently. She has 4 reserve challenge certificates awarded by Mrs. Furno, Miss McCombie, Mr. Rawlins and Mrs. Ottawa. She's been best at show at North Eastern Bull Terrier Club and the Colourful Terrier Club, and Mrs. Brailsford and Mr. Levin, and she was also best puppy and best coloured at Northern Provincial Bull Terrier Club under Mrs. Liz Shearer. She was best opposite sex at the Colourful Terrier Club Romeo Trophies, as well as being Puppy of the Year and Bitch of the Year at Northern Provincial. And the final competitor being moved is Slight Lass of Bully View. She has 2 challenge certificates, the first awarded at National Terrier 2000 under Mrs. Liz Brailsford, the second at the Welsh Kennel Club under David Jones, and then 3 reserve challenge certificates, first at Manchester under Tony Coop, Blackpool under Fred Howarth, and the Welsh Kennel Club under Bob Hill. All the dogs have now been seen and moved, and the 2 judges will now be deliberating and making their decision. After very long deliberation, we seem to have a result, and Mr. Bob Hill, the Chief Steward, is just about to make an announcement.
I will do it each time. First of all, there are 2 dogs from each trophy goes forward to the Charlie Girl Cup. In this case, from the San Lorana Trophy, the 2 dogs that go forward are number 81 and 90 go forward to the Charlie Girl Cup. The runner-up for the San Lorana Trophy for year 2001 is number 81, champion Hancock for Blackjack. The winner of the Ormandy Jobs, the winner of the San Lorana Trophy for the year 2001 is number 90,
So Kirby's Beautician is the winner of the Sandawana Trophy for 2001, with the runner-up is Champion High Court Jester.
Daniel Banal, who was one of the judges, he was a gentleman, he very kindly wished to present a little coat pin, a gold coat pin, to each of the competitors. At the same time, is a giveaway. Give out the trophies for each competitor, and I hope we get them in the right order. But first of all, would our chairman please present to number 90, Kirby's competition, the San Juan Trophy.
It's Kirby's Beautician who's the winner of the Sandawana Trophy for 2001.
Is the best opposite sex.
Now we do the Albany the dogs for the best dog show and the championship show in 2001. And first into the ring we have number 95,
This is Kale Shirt Nimrod of Crossgarley. He was born on 26th of October 2000. His sire is champion Magico Midnight Sun, and his mother is Kale Shirt Dreamweaver. He was bred by Liz and Jerry Shearer and is owned by Davy Crossan. This is champion High Cost Court Jester, who's just come from being best opposite sex in the Sandawana Trophy. He was born on the 1st of September 1999. His sire is Grieveland Shere Khan at Taipan, and his dam is Delilah Temptress. He was bred by Mr. Tomkinson and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Mountford. This is champion J. Bark Jack Flash. He was born on the 25th of October 1999. His sire is champion Magico Midnight Sun, and his dam is Magico Air of Permanence. He's owned and bred by Mr. Lee and Mrs. Joy Pilkington. This is champion Ken Z, Prince of Darkness at Den Power. He was born on the 6th of March 1999. He is by champion Hill and Vale Snow King of Den Power, and his dam is Lady Daisy of SH. He was bred by Mr. John Fletcher, and he is owned by Paul and Denny Hopewell. This is champion Killer Kabar Firestarter. He is by champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killer Kabar, and his mother is Hocus Pocus. He is owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. Kilpatrick. And he was born on the 23rd of July 1998. This is Remus Roulette at Bullyview. He was born on the 3rd of December 1999. His sire is champion Darjan Stormy Norman, and his dam is Bulami Unishir Evans. He was bred by Mr. Day and is owned by John and Mandy Young. This is Right Stuff Rides into Town. He was born on the 14th of June 1999. His sire is champion Flashpoint Inferno at Killer Kabar, and his dam is Right Stuff Rowena. He's owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. Wright. This is champion Right Stuff Renegade of Killer Kabar. He was born on the 14th of June 1999. His sire is champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killer Kabar, and his dam is Right Stuff Rowena. He was bred by Mr. and Mrs. Wright and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Kilpatrick and Mr. and Mrs. Moss. Lusty Glaze, Too Hot to Handle at Killicabar, was born on the 26th of March 1999. His sire is Champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killicabar, and his dam is Bullyview Dancer. He was bred by Miss T. Lang and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Kilpatrick and Miss Lang. Target Polar Ice. He was born on the 24th of March 2000. He's by Champion Marshalsea Ice and Slice, and his dam is Champion Rolling Nightshade at Target. He is bred by Mr. and Mrs. Mr. Gratty, and is owned by Miss Gratty and Mr. K. Dean. He has a reserve CC from Birmingham and was best opposite sets at Northern Provincial. To continue the international feel of the judges today, Mr. Bill Lambert is accompanied by Mrs. Susan Murphy from America. Mr. Lambert is now going over Champion Right Stuff Renegade of Killicabar. And Mrs. Murphy is currently going over Kaosha Nimrod of Cross Gali. Mr. Lambert is now going over Remus Roulette of Bullyview, and Mrs. Murphy is looking over Champion J. Bark Jack Flash. Mrs. Murphy is now looking at Champion Killicabar Firestarter, and Bill Lambert is looking at Champion Ken Z Prince of Darkness at Den Power. Next dog for Mrs. Murphy is Right Stuff Rides into Town, who is little brother to Renegade. Mr. Lambert is looking at Champion High Cost Court Jester. Mr. Lambert is now looking at Kaosha Nimrod of Prosgali, whilst Mrs. Murphy is looking at champion Right Stuff Renegade of Kilikabar. Mrs. Murphy is now looking at Remus Roulette at Bully View. And Mr. Lambert is now looking at champion J. Blackjack Flash. First to be moved is champion High Cost Court Jester. He has 3 challenge certificates, 2 with best of breed at Windsor and Darlington under Mrs. Edie Micklethwaite and Mr. John Micklethwaite. His 3rd challenge certificate came at Midland Counties under Miss Phil McCombie, and he has 2 reserve challenge certificates from Mrs. Quita Hewitt and Mr. John Branch. He was winner of the Romney Trophy in 2001, judged by Mrs. Bell and Mr. David Harris, and is the winner of the Guillaume Trophy for 2001, judged by Mrs. Gay Branch. This is champion Ken Z, Prince of Darkness at Den Power. He currently holds the breed record for the number of challenge certificates awarded. And he has a number of significant wins at regional clubs, Northern Provincial, Supreme Trophies in 2000. This is Remus Roulette at Bully View. He has 1 challenge certificate awarded by Mr. Terry Thorne at the Welsh Kennel Club. He was an invite to the Romney Trophy and was best dog at Notts and Derby under Mr. Fred Howell. This is champion Right Stuff Renegade of Kilikabar. He has 3 challenge certificates at Birmingham National under Mr. David Furno, at Bournemouth under Mrs. Ferrelid Summerfield, and at Birmingham City under Mrs. Janet Furno. This is Kaosha Nimrod of Cross Garley. He was best in show at the Scottish Bull Terrier Club Open Show at just under 12 months, Mrs. Lynn Hooker. And he's also our Dog's Bull Terrier Pup of the Year 2001. He entered 6 championship shows as a puppy and was best puppy in breed at all 6. He has 2 reserve challenge certificates, one at 10 months and 11 months under Mr. John Micklethwaite and Mrs. Phil McCombie. And his little brother and sister also winners at champion and open shows. This is champion Blackjack Flash. He has 3 challenge certificates. First at Driffield under Mr. Tony McCann, second at Manchester under Mrs. Barbara Shaw, where he had best of breed, and the third at the Scottish Bull Terrier Club under Mr. David Alexander, when he was also best of breed. He has a 4th challenge certificate, which he won at Crufts and was best of breed under Honourable David Merriam. He also was best at breed at the North East Bull Terrier Club under Mr. John Young and at the Colour Bull Terrier Club under Mrs. Janet Furner. He was invited to the Sandawana region and Ormsby Jug for Dogs in 2000 and was the winner of the Sandawana Trophy. This is champion Kinnakabar Firestarter. He has 3 challenge certificates. First was at West of England under Mr. Harry Pollock, the second at South Eastern Counties under Mrs. Norma Smith from Canada, and the third at the Welsh Bull Terrier Club under Mr. Tom Fleming. This is Right Stuff Right Into Town. He has 2 challenge certificates, the first at National Terrier with best of breed in August last year under Mrs. Quita Hewitt, and the second at Manchester in February of this year under Mr. John Young. He has 3 reserve challenge certificates under Mr. Frank Jones, Mrs. Deirdre Bateman and Mr. John Rawlins at East Anglia. And he was runner-up at the Ormsby Jug for Dogs in 2000 when it was judged by Mrs. Kenway and Mrs. Shaw. He was also invited to compete at the South Eastern Counties Bull Terrier Club annual trophies and was the winner of the Douglas Lindsay Cup and the Tartary Tankard when it was judged by Dr. Peter Larkin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges was completely anonymous on all of their winners. So to go forward to the Charlie Girl Cup, number 81 and 97. The runner-up to the Ormsby Jugs for the year 2001 is number 96, champion Blackjack.
As the runner-up to the Ormsby Jug for 2001, champion Blackjack Flash.
The winner of the Ormsby Jugs for the year 2001 2001 is number 84 champion.
The winner of the Almaty Jug for Dogs is champion KenZ Prince of Darkness at Den Power.
They are shown to the competitors, they do get mementos for it. Also, each competitor will get a medal, but please, when each of the competitors then go to the table and collect their glassware, because otherwise it's liable to be broken.
There is champion KenZ Prince of Darkness at Den Power, who's the winner of the Almaty Jug for Dogs for 2001.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now continue with the only job for British for the best mix shown at the championship show in 2001.
This is Bully View La-di-da. She was born on the 8th of October 1999. She's by champion Darjan Stormy Norman, and her dam is champion I Am Right Little Miss Bully View. She's owned and bred by John and Mandy Young. This is Cabriole Geisha Girl of Killicabar, born on the 31st of May 2000. Her sire is champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killicabar, and her dam is Cabriole Diamond Eck. She is bred by Brian and Carol Holm and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Blakely. Champion Capstar Burning Ambition of Killicabar was born on the 26th of September 1999. Her father is champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killicabar, and her mother is Nell Gwynn at Capstar. She's bred by Woods and Sweeney and is owned by Mr. Gary Wincup and Mr. Chris Kilpatrick.
Next we have number 104, champion Dejan in Classy Dame.
This is champion Darjan Classy Dame, who was born on the 17th of March 2000. She's by Radcliffe's Gorby's Boy, out of Serene Serenity at Girabard. She's bred and owned by Mrs. Janet Furno. This is champion Granax Escos of Dawn. She was born on the 8th of February 1999, and she's bred by Mr. and Mrs. Grant and owned by Mr. and Mrs. Roach. Her sire is creditor below zero, and her dam is creditor Coco Savannah.
Next into the ring is number 90, Gearvis Beautician.
Gearvis Beautician, born on the 16th of May 2000. Her sire is Marshall C. Hellraiser, and her dam is Kirby Zero. She's bred by Mrs. Quita Hewitt and is owned by Mr. Monk. This is Merlinda Newland for Swisser, born on the 25th of March 1999. She's by champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killicabar, and her dam is champion Matlark Moon Maiden of Merlinden. She's bred by Mr. and Mrs. Danny McGregor and is owned by Anne and Charlie Lancaster. Champion Present Surprise at Terrier was born on the 6th of April 1998. Her sire is champion Cross Guns Checkmate of Bully View, and her dam is Terrigram's Expressionist. She was bred by Mr. and Mrs. Cheatham and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Howarth and Mrs. Pilkington. This is champion tie-tack crystal clear of Elfling, who was born on the 19th of November 1998. She is by champion Magico Monroe out of Elfling Onyx. She was bred by Mr. Tate and is owned by Tom and Eleanor Fleming. This is Bullard Geisha Girl of Anastasia. She was born on the 2nd of June 2000. She's by champion Emred's Devil's Chance out of Bull Tie's Blazing Flame. She was bred by Miss Gillard and Mr. Walters and is owned by Mr. Steve Walker.
I'd like to introduce our judges for this afternoon. Mrs. Jane Highland from Northern Ireland and Mr. Orley Wakefield from Germany.
To continue the international flavour of the judging today, Mrs. Jo Highlands of Turjo Bull Terriers is joined by Mr. Ortiz Lothery, who's from Germany. Now, Mr. Lathery is looking at Bullard Geisha Girl of Astasia, and Mrs. Highlands is looking at Bully View La-di-da. Mr. Lothery is now looking at champion Present Surprise at Terrigram, and Mrs. Highlands, further down the ring, is looking at champion Capstar Burning Ambition of Killicabar. This is Kirby's Beautician, just hot from her success as the winner of the Sandawana Trophy. Mr. Lothery is now looking at champion Darjan's Classy Dame. And this is Morganton New Love for Srisa. Morganton New Love for Srisa is in the back of the picture being looked over by Mrs. Highlands at the moment. This is Cabriole Geisha Girl of Killicabar. Mrs. Highlands is looking at champion Tie-Tack Crystal Clear of Elfming. The first one to be moved is Bullyview La-di-da. She has one challenge certificate which was awarded by Mrs. Gaynor Richardson at Southern Counties, and 3 reserve certificates at 3 counties under Mrs. Maureen Hughes, at Blackpool under Mrs. Jackie Thornley, and Northern Provincial under Mr. Ron Scott. She was also one of the first animals to be invited for the Romany Trophy at the Colour Volterra Award. This is champion Capstar Burning Ambition of Killicabar. She has 3 challenge certificates, the first at the Scottish Bull Terrier Club under Mr. Alexander from America, the second at 3 counties under Mrs. Maureen Hughes, and the third at City of Birmingham under Mrs. Janet Fernlow. She also has a reserve challenge certificate for the Bull Terrier Club of Wales under Mr. Tom Fleming. She was Best Bitch and Best in Show at East Anglia Bull Terrier Club show in 2000. This is champion Grannock's Echoes of Dawn. Her 3 challenge certificates came at the City of Birmingham under Mr. Jimmy Henderson, at Midland Counties under Mr. Harry Jordan, and at the National Terrier Club Championship Show under Mrs. Squeeze Hewitt. She has reserve challenge certificates from Yorkshire Bull Terrier Club under the Australian judge Mr. Watkins, and at Darlington under Mrs. Zena Thorne Andrews. She was Best in Show at the Bebington Canine Society Open Show under another Australian judge, Mr. Ward. This is the first time Bull Terriers had classes scheduled at this show. This is Merlington New Love for Theresa. She has 2 challenge certificates. The first was given at Bournemouth under Mrs. Maureen Bell. The second at Midland Counties with Best of Breed under Miss Wilma Comby, and she has 3 reserve CCs. Pearl was also the winner of the last year's Regent Trophy. This is champion Tie-Tack Crystal Clear of Elfming. She has 3 challenge certificates. The first was awarded at the West of England by Mr. Harry Pollock, the second at the Scottish Kennel Club under Chris Kilpatrick, and the third at 3 counties by Mr. Mark Phillips. The next bitch is Bullard Geisha Girl of Astasia. She was best in show under Mrs. Elaine Clark at the West of England Bull Terrier Club Open Show. She was best puppy at Infant Breed in Birmingham National under Mr. David Furner, and at Southern Counties with Mrs. Gaynor Richardson. Her sire, champion M. Red Devil's Chance, was the winner of the Ormondy Jug 2000.
Turn.
The next bitch is Champion Present Surprise at Terrigram. She has 5 challenge certificates, the first being awarded at Southern Counties by Mr. Brian Foy, the second at North Eastern Bull Terrier Club with Mr. Harry Marley, third by the Scottish Kennel Club from Mr. Frank Jones, fourth was at Windsor last year under Mrs. Edie Micklethwaite, and then she won her 5th at Driffield under the all-rounder Mr. Aspin. She also has 4 reserve challenge certificates and has been invited to a number of trophies of different clubs, so Colour Bull Terrier Club for 2 years running and Northern Provincial, and she was a reserve for the Regent Trophy 2000 and won the Blaze Away Trophy in 2001. She was also invited to the Ormondy Jug. Next we have Kirby's Beautician. She has 2 challenge certificates at the moment. The first with Best of Breed under Mr. Ron Scott at Northern Provincial, and the second with Best of Breed under Mr. John Young at Manchester. She has 4 reserve challenge certificates given by Mrs. Janet Furno, Miss Phil McCombie, Mr. John Rawlins and Miss June Otterwell. She's been best in show at the Colour Bull Terrier Club and also at North Eastern Bull Terrier Club, and she was best puppy and best coloured at the Northern Provincial Bull Terrier Club under Mrs. Liz Shearer. This is Champion Darjan Classy Dame. She has 3 challenge certificates given at the Bull Terrier Club by Mr. Terry Highlands, the East Anglia Bull Terrier Club by Mr. John Rawlins, and at LKA last December under Mrs. June Otterwell. She is also the winner of the Bull Terrier Club Raymond Oppenheimer Memorial Trophy for the Best Bitch of the 2001, which is judged on a point system according to the number of challenge certificates you've been awarded during the year. She was best bitch in show at the Bull Terrier Club Open Show in February 2001, and during 2001 had numerous first places at breed shows and 2 Terrier Group wins. And the last bitch to be shown is Cabriole Geisha Girl of Killacabar. She has 2 challenge certificates at the moment. First at the Welsh Kennel Club under Mr. Bob Hill, where she was given Best of Breed, and Best Opposite Sex under Mr. John Micklethwaite at Darlington. She's had a number of best puppies. She was best puppy at Wales and championship show under Mr. Tom Fleming, and was reserved best in show at Sheffield Bull Breeds show, as well as best puppy in show at Rochdale Open Show. Now all the dogs have been moved and also gone over by the judges, and now they'll be making their final decisions.
Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't see any blood on the carpet, so the two judges did an agreement again. First of all, the two animals to go forward into the Charlie Girl Cup is number 108 and number 90. For the year 2001 is number 102, Gabriel Giesiger of Philadelphia.
The runner-up for the Ormondy Jug for Bitches is Gabriel Giesiger of Killicabar.
The winner of the Ormondy Jugs for Bitches for the year 2001, number 104.
The winner of the Ormondy Jug is number 104, which is champion Darjan's Classy Dame. This is Kailshar Nimrod of Crossgarley. He was born on the 26th of October 2000. He's by champion Magico Midnight Sun and by his Kailshar Dreamweaver. He was bred by Liz and Jerry Shearer and is owned by Davy Crossan. This is Kailshar Black Douglas. He's the litter brother of Nimrod. He was born on the 26th of October 2000 and is by champion Magico Monroe out of Kailshar Dream. She was bred by Miss Liz Shearer and Mr. Jerry Shearer and is owned by them. This is Ishabar playing with fire. He was born on the 5th of November 2000 and is by champion Kenzed Prince of Darkness at Dencower, and his dam is Miss All Alone at Ishabar. He was bred by Mr. Backhouse and is owned by Ian and Alison Hollandrake. Remus Roulette at Bullyview was born on the 3rd of December 1999. He's by champion Darjan Stormy Norman out of Bullamy Unishir Evans. He's bred by Mr. Day and is owned by John and Mandy Young. Champion Right Stuff Renegade of Killicabar was born on the 14th of June 99. He's by champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killicabar out of Right Stuff Rowena. He was bred by Mr. and Mrs. Wright and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Kilpatrick and Mr. and Mrs. Moss. This is Target Polar Ice. He was born on the 23rd of March 2000 and is by champion Marshalsea Ice and a Slice out of champion Rolling Nightshade of Target. He was bred by Mr. Gratty and is owned by Miss Gratty and Mr. Dean. Gulardi Dar was born on the 8th of October 99. She's by champion Darjan Stormy Norman out of champion I'm Right Little Miss Bullyview. She's bred and owned by John and Mandy Young. Bullard Geisha Girl of Astasia was born on the 2nd of June 2000. She's by champion Emred's Devil's Chance out of Bull Tie's Blazing Flame. She was bred by Miss Gillard and Mr. Waters and is owned by Mr. Steve Walker. Cabriole Geisha Girl of Killicabar was born on the 31st of May 2000. She's by champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killicabar out of Cabriole Dominique. She was bred by Brian and Carol Hume and is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Blakely. Champion Dejan Cassidane was born on the 17th of March 2000. She's by Ratcliffe's Gorby's Boy out of Serene Serenity at Jaribond, and she was owned and bred by Mrs. Janet Furneaux. Kirby's Beautician was born on the 16th of May 2000. She's by Marshall C. Hellraiser and out of Kirby Zero. She's bred by Mrs. Quita Hewitt and is owned by Mr. Monk. Stars and Stripes of Merlington was born on the 21st of August 99. She's by champion Flashpoint Inferno of Killicabar out of Solar Dream Starshine of Merlington. She's bred by Mr. Danny McGregor and Miss Nicola Colwell and is owned by Mr. Danny McGregor and Mrs. Linda McGregor. Phyllis the Victorious of Mum Megaville was born on the 11th of August 2000. She is by Megaville's Soul Rebel out of Spud's Prancing Lady. She was bred by Mrs. Purcell and is owned by Anna and Pete Blair. Here we have Kirby's Beautician being looked at by Mr. Phillips. And here we have Keoshar Nimrod of Cross Scarley being looked at by Mrs. Smith. This is Cabriole Geisha Girl of Killicabar, who's just been runner-up to the Ormondy Jug for Bitches. This is Bully View La-di-da. This it's yeah. This is Champion Right Stuff Renegade of Killicabar. And here we have Target Polar Ice. This is Bullard Geisha Girl of Astasia. This is Remus Roulette at Bully View. And here we have Champion Darjan's Classy Dame. Fresh from her win of being the Ormody Jug for Bitches winner. This is Stars and Stripes of Morganton. This is Ishmael playing with fire. First to move is Keoshar Nimrod of Proscarley. He's had a very successful time as a puppy and was our dog's Bull Terrier Pup of the Year for 2001. He won all the puppy classes he entered into and was best puppy at breed at 6 shows. He also has 2 reserve challenge certificates awarded by Mr. John Ribbleswaite and Miss Bill Comby. He was best in show at the Scottish Bull Terrier Club when he was just 12 months by Mrs. Lynn Hooker. Ishabah playing with fire. He's had numerous very good wins at open or breed shows and has been consistently placed at breed and championship shows this year. Next we have champion Right Stuff Renegade of Killicabar. He has 3 challenge certificates, first being awarded at Birmingham National by David Furneaux, the second at Bournemouth under Olith Summerfield, and the third and qualifying CC at Birmingham City under Janet Furneaux. Next we have Goulard Geisha Girl of Astasia. She's won 2 Best Puppy in breeds at Birmingham National Southern Counties, and she was Best in Show at West of England Bull Terrier Club show under Mrs. Elaine Clark. This is champion Dejan Classy Dame, and she has 3 challenge certificates. She won her first at the Bull Terrier Club under Mr. Terry Highlands, and then at East Anglia under Mr. John Rawlins, and the qualifying CC at LKA under Mrs. June Otterwell. She's just come fresh from her very popular win as the holder of the Bournemouth Jug for Bitches. She's also had 2 Terrier group wins and Best Puppy at all breed shows, and also a reserve Best Puppy in show at an all breed show. This is Stars and Stripes of Morganton. In addition to many first prizes at championship and breed club shows, she was Best Bull Terrier of the Year for East Anglia at their recent trophy show. This is Kirby's Brutition. She has 2 challenge certificates, one from Northern Provincial under Mr. Ron Scott, the second at Manchester under Mr. John Young, as well as 4 reserve challenge certificates. She's had 2 best in shows at Open Breed Club shows at North East under Mr. Paul Lemon and at the Colourful Terrier Club under Mrs. Liz Brailsford. She was best puppy at the Scottish Bull Terrier Club under Mr. Alexander, and she was the winner of the best opposite sex at the Romany Trophy at the Colourful Terrier Club. Gabrielle Geisha Girl of Killickbar. She has 2 challenge certificates, first with Best of Breed under Mr. Bob Hill, Welsh Kennel Club, and under Mr. John Wigglesworth at Darlington. This is Bully View La-di-da. She has 1 challenge certificate given by Gaynor Richardson at Southern Counties last year and 3 reserve challenge certificates by Maureen Hughes, Jackie Thornley and Ron Scott. Target Polar Ice. He is notable. He has a reserve challenge certificate from Birmingham and he was best opposite sex at Northern Provincial and has had no interesting wins at open shows for all breeds as well. This is Remus Roulette at Bully View. He has 1 challenge certificate awarded by 4-rounder Terry Thorne and was best dog at Notts and Derby. This is Kailshire Black Douglas. He's little brother to Nimrod, but has also had some interesting wins. He was best puppy in group at an all-breed open show in his first outing, as well as being best puppy in breed at National Terrier. judges have made their decision, and we'll first of all hear who's going forward for the Charlie Club for
Ladies
movement.
and gentlemen, for the last time, no blood on the carpet. The judges agree. The dog to go forward to the Charlie Girl Cup, which will be run on after this, is number 90. Now, in the Regent Trophy, there can be 3 winners. You can have your winner, the runner-up, which will be the same sex, and the best opposite sex. That is what we have today. Going to the best opposite sex for the Regent Trophy for the year 2001 is number 101, Target Polar Ice.
Target Polar Ice is the best opposite sex in the Regent Trophy, so that means that the winner and the runner-up are both bitches.
The Regent Trophy is number 90, Kirby.
Runner-up for the Regent Trophy is Kirby's Beautician.
And the winner for the year 2001 for the Regent Trophy is number 104.
The winner of the Regent Trophy for 2001 is number 104, Champion Darjan Classy Dane. A very popular win, and she's also the winner of the Ormady Jug for Bitches. There you can see Mrs. Janet Furno, who is the owner and breeder of Classy Dame, being congratulated by the judges. A very happy lady. Right, this is the competition for the Charlie Girl Cup for best movement, those animals who've been competing in the trophies today. First of all, we have Champion Killer Kebab Firestarter at the top. Then next to him is Champion Tightack Crystal Clear of Elfming. And here comes Firestarter. This is purely for movement rather than any other aspect that judges normally look at. Second to move is Champion Tightack Crystal Clear of Elfming. This is Champion High Court Port Jester. And finally we have Kirby's Beautician.
The winner of the Charlie Girl Reuben Cup is number 90, Kirby's Beautician. Again, our chairman will present the prizes. And thank you very much indeed.
It's a very successful day for Kirby's Beautician. She's won the Sandawana Trophy, been runner-up for the Regent Trophy and best mover of all animals today in the trophies.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of our show for 2002. Thanks to all of you for attending.